From entertaining on the streets of London to Hollywood premieres, he has worked with some of the biggest names in the movie industry, such as Rowan Atkinson, Guy Ritchie, and Don Cheadle. My guest today is Wale Ojo, an award-winning British Nigerian actor and star of Amazon Prime's latest hit, Breath of Life. He's an icon in Nigeria's film industry, and today he's here to talk about fame, regret, and some exciting stories from inside the world of cinema. I'm Jeremy Savory. Welcome to the CEO Hack, a show where we uncover the best success hacks from industry leaders around the world. Wale, good to have you in Dubai. How are you finding it so far?
I love it.
Yeah?
I love Dubai, yeah. Great city.
Yeah?
Nice to be here.
It gets better. It gets better as the year goes on.
Yeah.
But originally you're from the UK. What was it like growing up in the UK in, what is it, the 60s? Or
60s, yeah.
With Nigerian parents. How was that?
Well, you know what's so interesting? The first 2 years of my life was spent in London, in Bethnal Green.
Yeah, used to live there.
Yeah, oh, you did?
Yeah. It's still a bit.
You know, but yeah, it's still Bethnal Green, right?
Yeah.
But and then after I was 2, my mum put my brother and I on a ship, and we set sail for Nigeria. And the first image I have is being on a high sea, and my older brother, who was like a year older than me, was crawling towards the edge of the ship, literally about to fall off. My mum screamed and grabbed him, and that was the memory I had. That's a very strong visual memory I have of heading back to Nigeria. And then so I grew up in Nigeria, really.
You grew up in Nigeria?
And didn't come back to England until I was 12.
Okay, and then from 12, where did you go back to in UK?
12, I went to public school.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, I went to a place called Mayfield College, which is quite horrible.
I want my kids to go to boarding school. Why is it horrible?
Nasty. Yeah. You have to wake up very early. You have to have cold showers. You have to play rugby in the winter. You have to join the cadets. And, you know, I came from a very privileged background in Nigeria, and I just wasn't used to that. You know, I wasn't used to sitting in a big, huge place with lots of people eating, you know,
so
chips.
You used to, like, coming to America, like, rose petals under your feet.
So it was a big cultural shock for me, you know. And I cried my first couple of days because my dad brought me. And my dad said, "Look, just, you know, this is not Nigeria. You just have to toughen up." But in a while, I got used to it because I had other Nigerian friends that were there, you know, and you know, we all became like a big friend group.
And then after you graduated, what did you do?
Well, I graduated in 1986, and I was kind of thrown into the deep end, acting-wise. I got cast in a stage play, to play Othello. So I played Othello at the age of 21.
Did you know that you wanted to be an actor from a young age?
Yeah, very much.
Calling.
Yeah. From the age of 8, I knew I wanted to be an actor.
And was it everything, like, once you went fully into it, was it everything you thought it would be, or?
It was.
You went back to Bethnal Green, yeah.
I went back to Clapham. No, it was.
I'm from Clapham, so that's.
You're
good.
Really. Oh,
I was in Clapham.
I was in Clapham Common for a while.
Yeah, between the commons, yeah.
Yeah. Then I went to Streatham.
Oh, okay.
Then I've lived all over London.
Oh, okay.
As a struggling actor.
Yeah.
You know. Then I was in Kilburn. Oof. Then I was in Portobello. Then I moved on to Fulham, and it was. Yeah.
So depending on your pay packet, you moved to, like...
Yeah. Clapham Common was the bottom. Sorry.
Yeah, no. It's changed a lot.
And then you know, things started to get better. But yeah, I mean, I struggled for a long time as an actor in London.
Nice. And then you started to go mainstream. Then you started to get in some big productions. Yeah. So you're working with, like, you know, obviously over the years, you started to work some major English or British thespians, you know, household names. And then you start going Hollywood. You've got Don Cheadle's, and then you've got, you know, you're working with Guy Ritchie, Rowan Atkinson. Yeah. You know. I'll tell
you a story about Guy Ritchie, right? Listen, Guy Ritchie lived in the worst place in Clapham Common. when I first met him. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we met in the West End. He was a really good guy, very friendly guy. And he goes, Wale, I love your acting, and I want you to be a gambler in this film I'm doing. It's called The Hard Case. I said, well, what's it about? He goes, nah, it's a bit, East End gangsters, you know what I mean? But like, you got to be a gambler now. And he was a real white boy, and I thought, yeah, because but Wale, listen, man, I know you're a great actor, but I can't pay you. I haven't got a pen now. I goes, don't worry about it. Let's do it. I said, but one condition, my housemate has got to be in it, because my housemate was an actor. So if you go to YouTube and just put Hard Case, you'll see a guy next to me. That's my flatmate. Nice. And we did it, and Guy was great, and I remember meeting him with Matthew Watchers, who directed a lot of the big productions now. They were actually a duo, Guy Ritchie and Matthew Watchers.
Okay.
Sorry, not Matthew Watchers. What am I talking about? Matthew Bourne. Sorry,
yeah,
Matthew Watchers.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
he did the layer cake, right?
That's right, the layer cakes. Yeah. So
they were together.
They were together at the very beginning, and I remember very clearly they both met me at the ICA in London, in the West End, and just saying thank you, for being a part of this, and would love to work with you again in the future. That was it.
And then they just. Yeah, that was when Lock, Stock came out, right?
Yeah, Lock, Stock came out. You see, The Hard Case was really a short film that was Lock, Stock.
I was thinking, yeah.
Hard Case really is Lock, Stock.
Yeah.
And then Lock, Stock became, a huge film.
It was.
And unfortunately, I wasn't available when Lock, Stock was being cast, but yeah.
I guess there's a lot of sliding doors moments. Like, are there other sliding doors moments where originally, you were scripted to do something, or somebody else was, and you came in? Yeah. Maybe part of like all the success you had was because somebody else then couldn't do it.
Yeah, true. There's been a lot of sliding doors, and to give you one sliding door, I was slated to do a film with Angelina Jolie in Russia, and then they gave it to Common. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember the name of the film now. It was a Russian director, and it was actually filmed in Russia, and it was with Angelina Jolie and who's the English actor who did Last King of Scotland.
Yes. It's the one with the guns and that.
With the guns, yeah.
That one.
It was that one.
So you were going to be in that one?
I was going to be in that one, and they gave it to Common, and I was like, hang on, guys, this guy's a rapper.
Yeah,
he's not an actor.
Yeah,
I was pissed.
Yeah,
I was, my head just says, look, well, we don't know what's going on. So from then on, I decided, you know what, I'm going to do music now as well, since they're giving great acting jobs to rappers.
Yeah, maybe that was like what he got him started.
I think no, Common's an amazing rapper. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I think he had a huge profile as a rapper, so they kind of lean on that, and that's this business, It's as famous as you are, you could be a famous door opener or a famous road sweeper. If you've got the numbers, they can pull you into anything.
Yeah, exactly. And that comes into their marketing budget.
It's a numbers game.
And then so with them, and then at the same time, you're also a very well known person in Nigeria.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I met you, is because like we had the same protocol at the airport, and everyone's like looking at you, and then people asking for your autographs. I'm like, this guy must be something like this, and then I was like, yeah, so who are you, and this sort of stuff, and then now that you've told me the movies you're in, it's like, okay, I need to watch those movies, and that's I'm watching it this weekend. But how is that for you? Just you must get all the time in Nigeria.
I do. But I got to say though, Jeremy, when we first met, I thought you were very funny, because a lot of people get pissed off, because like if I'm rushing for the plane, right?
Yeah.
I always get like the custom. There was that bit where you put your bag.
Yeah.
But the guys there, they come out of the booth and start having a conversation. Like, why did he do in that film? Why did he shoot that person? And there's a long queue.
It's like, mate,
but you were so friendly, like, oh, what's going on here? You were like, curious to know, and that was how we met. I thought it was really, really, really cool, and I get that a lot, and I love it, that's
but is that, I don't think from how well I know you, I don't think that's how you imagine things. You're just someone for the art, you're for the game. Yeah. I always wanted to know, like musicians and actors, how many of them actually are just not really in it for the love? Like for them, it's a means to an end, because it's tough at the beginning, right? You're gigging, and then you're doing your pilots and all that stuff. Like, do you see that these days, that you can feel that people are then really doing it because it's about the money and the fame?
Yeah. There are a few people that do it for the money and the fame, and they're not. You discover that they're not really actors. I mean, I remember. I mean, I can't name names. Sure, I sit down with these people and I go, okay, so what's your favorite Shakespeare play? And they go, Okay, so who's your favorite poet? But you're an actor, you know. At least you know some of these stuff. No, you know. And then you discover that okay, it's just either somebody who had an uncle and thought, I could be an actor, and had the connections, and then went in there, and that was it. And the same thing it is for music, But then you do get some people who have honed and worked on their craft, and then they discover that they have not got the just reward for all of that hard work, and that's where life's unfair. You just have to you have to live with it. And I was like, for a long time I nearly gave up. I'm just going to quit. It was just too hard, and 10, 15 grand a year in London. It's tough. You can't survive on that.
Yeah.
And I tell you, and I'm not ashamed to say this. At some point, I decided to go and busk.
Serious?
Yeah. I took a drum.
Whereabouts?
Oh man, I drummed in Leicester Square. I drummed in Portobello for a while. But here's the interesting thing: when I first started doing that, I lived with someone you would know very well. Well, a lot of people would know very well. I lived with Seal.
No.
Yeah. And Seal used to go out with my flatmate, and they were, they were a very strong couple, and she said, "Oh, you got to meet my flatmate. He's from Nigeria." I goes, "So this is Wale. This is Seal. He's from." I said, "What's your Nigerian name? Why are you going to say Seal?"
Yeah.
I said, are you a fish? And we just got on, and Seal was struggling. He was a struggling musician, And then one day he came back, he goes, Wale. I said, what? Because I met this guy called Adamski. He's like, yeah, Glastonbury Festival. I go, really? What's Adamski? I don't know, man. We're going to put a single together. And that was it. Boom. Next time I saw him, he was off,
And you know what? Like, the Guy Ritchie thing, the Seal thing, but you're also part of that as well, because you're clearly in a much better place than you were before. Definitely. But you also had to have that hustle and the lows that the Guy had and Seal had. And to us, like, as part of this podcast, every single person we're dealing with can all relate to, and I can say many things that, again, I'm not ashamed of it, because at the end, it's like it's part of my formation to where we are today.
Exactly.
But I think those moments are there that I think that just gives you that drive to just go, okay, I can really go. If these guys are going to get those breaks, I just need to keep on going until I get that break.
You're absolutely
And then the next minute, you're like with, you're friends with Idris Elba. Your favorite. By the way, story about Idris Elba. I saw him in Ibiza. I think he was staying in the same hotel as us. Yeah. And I was there with my wife. And I was like, Idris Elba, I heard he's just got married. I'm going to send him a bottle of champagne.
Nice.
And then my wife was like, that's his fourth wife. And I was like, oh, he doesn't need a champagne. So I still own that one.
I'll tell you another sliding door moment with me and Idris, right? There was, I met a director called Kerry Fukunaka. He directed the last Bond.
Yes.
And he shot a film that was written by a Nigerian called Beast of No Nation.
Yes,
and it was shot in Ghana.
Yes.
So I flew out to Ghana to meet Kerry, and we met privately, and we had an audition. And Kerry looked at me and says, "Why are you going to get me in trouble?" I goes, "Why? Because the only part I have for you in this film belongs to Idris Elba."
Really?
And I thought, oh, blast. But it was cool. This is fantastic. And he did a great job in that film. And of course, I became friends with Kerry, and I even went as far as to get the casting director to come to Lagos to cast for that film.
Yeah.
And so it's, it's the business that we're in. You can't take it personally.
Exactly. And so the thing is, that was a Netflix, I think. That one was Netflix.
It was Netflix.
Right? Yeah. When you're doing Nollywood productions, right, which is booming, is a major business right now.
Yeah.
And I see RMD now is doing his type of stuff. When you're on set in Nigeria, when you're doing these things, what are the things that you've noticed between, like, I don't know, scripts and production sets and all that type of stuff? What are the things that you notice?
Well, I mean, the production values on international sets obviously is much higher, right? But in Nigeria, what you get and what you don't get on international sets is camaraderie. You get a real feeling of a group work, the group working to create a great film. When I'm on an international set, I'm almost too spoiled, simply because of what I've achieved. The production manager will come around and tell the extras, don't talk to the main actor and all this kind of stuff. But in Nigeria, it's completely different. Everybody's in, everybody's talking, everybody's laughing.
It's not pride.
Yeah. We're very proud in Nigeria. But it's pride also mixed with humility. you know, the guy who's going to deliver your tea might just want to have a conversation with you about your career, you know, and I would gladly offer that time. Do you know what I mean? And but it's not like that in England, and it's not like that in the States.
Yeah, I think English people are very reserved. Americans, you know, it's a bit out there. But that's one thing. I mean, I've been going back and forth in Nigeria for over a decade. And I always noticed that, as you mentioned, it's just like you could be anywhere on the scale, anywhere from your background, any, you know, any tribe or any part, north or south.
Yeah.
But the common thing is the sense of humor.
Yeah.
I've never seen any other country where people laugh about things that aren't even funny, about serious, about serious stuff, about minor stuff, about you know, even if like there's a drama or there's a fight or aggro, there's a sense of humor, there's a levity to the thing, and it's amazing. That's why I just love that country so much. It's just I've traveled to a lot of countries, but what is it with Nigerians? What's this levity that is just?
I don't know. I you know, I always feel like Nigeria is one great big movie set. Because and the theme is comedy, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I remember I arrive at airports, you know, and you see 4 mobile soldiers looking really mean with guns and got this AK-47. They look mean, you know. And the moment they look at me, they break into a smile, and then do all this saluting stuff with the guns, tossing the guns up and down, you know. And everything suddenly changed, you know. I'm on the road driving, you know. Buses are going like that, zooming, you know. One guy's having a conversation with the guy on the bike, and they're literally having a conversation and laughing, and there's cars behind, horns are blaring. It's a massive movie set. And I keep saying to myself, I must capture all of this mad, bubbling, crazy energy in a movie one day.
Yeah, I think you should, because I just think that sometimes, unfortunately, you know, there's external I would say, you know, points of view of Nigeria, which don't paint it in a favorable light. Yeah. And, you know, I tell friends of mine, like, I go there, why are you going there? Like, are you sure? And this and that and everything. Yeah. And it's like, no, like, to be honest with you, I've got a lot of friends there. I'm happy to call them friends. Yeah. I just have a good time. I have a laugh. And you know, in business and in life, we don't have enough of a laugh. But when I go there, you know, it's there's just, you know, and even you just, snapshots of life. Yeah. So, you know, I've been times where, like, you know, there was the guy didn't move his car, and then you got the security guard coming in. I've you know, I know police officers who, you know, have apprehended this guy, and then they're having a laugh. The guy that they apprehended is having a laugh. Yeah. You know, I'm having a laugh. And everyone else is having a laugh. And it's just like, but this is kind of a pretty serious situation. But we're all having a laugh. You know, we'll get there in the end. But
in the end, you know, no, that's Nigeria. You know, laughter is such a I call the laughter like an orgasm of the heart, you know. It's it's something that we always indulge in, you know. I remember once I was driving down, I mean, you know, just from Victoria Island towards the bridge. Right? Yeah. And there was this guy fixing this light, traffic light, but he was high up on this kind of I don't know what they call it, but he was really high, but it looked great. And I thought, wow, that would look really good in a movie. You know what I mean? And so I stopped. And I asked the guy, you know, and all the guys, they all came down, started having a chat. I go, yeah, you can use this. That can never happen in London.
Yeah.
You know.
And the weird thing is, like, it's actually a more insecure. Okay, London now is getting a bit, you know, tasty, should we say? But it's an insecure country. Yeah. But you can still be very much like open and out and about. Like, I used to spend a lot of time in Abuja, and I used to go and play football in the local parks with the guys in the street.
Oh, really?
And then people were like, no, you need to have armed guards and all this stuff. I was like, look, I'm just going to play football. I've got nothing to steal anyway. And then we just go and play football, and it was, you know, a lot of fun and everything. Yeah. And I think, how do you feel is that the knowing that you're there and you knowing that you're British, and then people, you know, with that perception of Nigeria, then you just feel like the actions of a minority are just holding back the image of the country is trying to portray.
Yeah. I mean, we have bad PR, you know. There's a few bad fruits, you know, and they paint it bad for everybody. You see one bad Nigerian and everything. I mean, you look at what you're saying. That friends are saying, why are you going there? Have armed security guard. I mean, I remember once my mum paid for me to bring a play over from London. I brought about 8 English actors, and they had exactly the same thing. Oh no, Nigeria? What? Are you mad? What? and I was like, and I said, guys, don't worry. And when they got in and they saw all, they were like escorted from the airport, and we did the play at the Muzon Center, and they didn't want to come back. They wanted, we went to Ibadan, we went to Kano, we went to Georgia, went all over doing this play, what was essentially a British play, but I'd adapted it into Nigeria, and it was fun. And they, till today, they still say how much fun they had, and how much was the BS.
Wish more people would actually go, you know what I mean? Like, there should be more people coming to understand and just saying, look, it's just got a lot more to give as a country. Yeah. So when you're in Nigeria, do you sometimes have to reconfigure yourself when you're in Hollywood and you're with all these famous people and just like, what am I doing here? Or are you accustomed to it? It's just like, look, it's just me basically getting into character. I'm in Hollywood. I'm with these famous actors. I'm no longer back home where I was. Do you still get starstruck?
No, I don't. For me, it's job as usual. Before, because when I was hustled big time, a friend of mine would say, I remember, this is another story. Another friend of mine that I struggled with in London was a great designer, became a famous designer now, Oswald Boateng. He was also a very good friend of mine. We both hustled together, and I remember once Oswald saw me in Leicester Square, and he was in this chauffeur-driven limo. He says to me, Wale, where are you going? Where are you going? Come in. And I got into the limo, and sat there is Lawrence Fishburne.
No.
And I was like, Oswald, what's going on? Come on, we're going to the Matrix premiere. Come, let's go to the Matrix premiere. I went to the Matrix premiere.
You were just walking down the street?
I was just walking down the street. I goes, Oswald, I'm not well. Don't worry about it. Lawrence Fishburne, come on, man, don't worry about it. I was like, what? And, I was mad. And we went, saw the Matrix, came out. Not only that, Lawrence invited us back to his suite at the Savoy. We were just chilling, playing the piano, and it was amazing. So you got these moments, and it's like, irreplaceable.
Those are those are magical moments.
Yeah, and when I look back at that, so when I get into Hollywood and I'm with other bigger actors, no, I don't get starstruck. You know what I mean? Through those struggling years, it really, you mentioned it. Those are precious. Those years are precious. I was in London recently, and I said to Oswald, we need to make a documentary of that time, because that time was special. There was just something about it. There was a whole gang of us. There was me. There was Seal. There's another Nigerian musician called Keziah Jones. Who's famous now. It was just a group of us, and it was such a special time. So when I'm on big sets or whatever, for me it's just it's a job as usual. Of course, I respect acts that I've worked with. Brendan DDC, and I did Foundation with David Goyer, who directed Batman. And that's another funny story.
What happened there?
Well, I got that job when I was on holidays, but and I was pretty well established, but I spend a lot, so.
I was going to say those shoes.
And I was like, I was broke. Yeah. I'd gone speedboating, and I done some styles in Cape Verde, and I was buying some stuff out there. So I was broke, So my agent called me and goes, Wale, they want to see you for Foundation. I thought, oh, here we go. This is a big job. They're not going to give it to me. It's going to go to Jimon Hunsu. It's going to go to Chiwetel Ejiofor, whatever. And I sent him the tape, because what you do is you record the tape of the scene, and I said to my agent, I said, well, I'm not in London, I'm not in Lagos. I don't have any cameras here. You have to find something. They really want to see you. So I put a tape together, for a friend of mine who owned a production company out there. And I sent it over to him. And to be honest with you, I forgot about it. Didn't think I was going to hear anything back, Then weeks later, my agent called me and goes, Wale, I go, yeah. So what were we doing on that tape? I don't know. I just sent the tape, with the scene, and apparently they were going crazy, and that's why I got the job. But they said you have to fly to Ireland to film, but we can only fly you from Europe. Mm-hmm. And I was in Cape Verde. My agent, they can't fly you from Cape Verde. They can only fly you if you make your way to Gran Canaria, and I was broke. So I had got this high-profile job, but I couldn't get there. So I was stuck.
Huh? You
swam? Yeah.
So what happened?
No. I just had to hustle, get some cash. Went to the Gran Canaria. Stayed in a really, really cheap, nasty hotel. Got on a bus to the airport, and got there.
But it's just like. But then after you did that, then you got your payment for it. You get the
exposure. The thing as an actor, right? What happens is that I do a job, I get well paid, and then there's a lull.
And then you don't know when the next...
You don't know when the next club is. And the mistakes and that I make, I buy stuff, I spend a lot, and then I find that I'm broke in between. You know?
But don't you find that is the petrol that keeps you going?
Yeah. To be honest with you, Jeremy, I like that. I like the fear that it brings me, and it makes me more hungry, and it makes me chase things, you know, which is why at some point I decided, okay, I'm going to have to write my own films, set up my own production company, you know, and push myself and do all these things, you know. And that's what I'm doing. I in a way, I enjoy my success now, of course. You know, I can fly anywhere I want in the world, you know, I can do anything. But I miss those days, you know.
So hold on a minute. You come from a very, very well-off family in Nigeria, but you're busking in Leicester Square.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you didn't have to do that.
No, not at all. And I never told my mum I was doing that either, because I would have been on the first plane back to Nigeria.
Yeah.
You know, but it was a question of pride. You know, I just didn't want to admit that I was having a hard time as an actor, you know. And so I just felt that, you know, instead of, you know, calling my mum and saying, can I have some money? You know, can I have a grand in my account? I thought, I've got to do this myself, my own self-worth.
Yeah. And so, but going back now, if you were to give any advice to the younger Wale, let's go back, you know, a quarter of a century.
Yes.
What would be the advice that you would give?
That your gift, your talent is a gift from God, you know, and you should never, ever, ever give it up. And it will get hard. It gets very hard, you know, and this is an advice, especially to young Nigerian actors out there, you know, and younger English actors all over the world, really, is that if you feel that you can spend 24 hours doing what you love, even when you're not getting paid for it, and that is what you need to do, you know, and nothing else, and you have to persevere. And it gets very hard. It does get hard. But the fact that you've been given that gift means that if you're hating doing a 9-to-5 job, but you can do what you do for 24 hours, you must keep doing what you love doing for 24 hours, because whatever happens, something's going to happen. It's going to take you to the next level because you're doing what you're supposed to do. And that's for actors, writers, sculptors, you know, poets. You just got to keep going. And it does get hard. But the key is to keep going, because that's what then sustains you throughout life.
Mm. And then, but also, not even just going back to basically that energy that drives you forward, but also just to stay at the top of your game.
Yes.
Right? So you need to, you know, you're not the only guy there.
No, you're not.
That's the thing about what you're doing as an actor, is like, it's an interview and there's one role and there's, you know, half a dozen people all going for it. So you need to be better than else. So there's an element of competition as well.
Absolutely. Huge element of competition, you know, and you've got to know that no matter how good an actor you are, there's always an actor out there who's better than you. No matter how. So you've got to keep being hungry. Even when you're at a level of success, I've even discovered that some of the most insecure people are actors at a very high level of success, because they feel that, oh my God, someone's going to come and take my crown. I got to up the game, you know. And I've always found that even at this point where I am, I'm still hungry to do more stuff, to show more stuff of what I can do with my craft, you know. So you're always moving, you're always pushing yourself, you know. That profession. I'm sure, Jeremy, you know that as well. You know, in the profession, you just don't stop, you know, because you're successful. You know, you just keep going because you remember those times. And it's that energy, that hunger, that drive. It still keeps you propelling, you know. Someone said the sky is the limit. No, for me, it's the moon, it's Saturn, it's Venus.
I think also, because I think this is where we have some similarities. Like, we're talking about people getting into acting game for the money. If you've got the money, you lose that hunger. And so other people, you need something else to keep you driving you. So for some people, it's competition, or some people it's the challenge, or some people it's just like, well, let's see how I go. And I think, you know, there's something that I've seen with some of the CEOs that I've interviewed. It's like, they don't need the money. They had the money years ago. Yeah. But for them, they're just built like that. And it could be something as small as, some people are driven by competition, right? As sports players, right? I'm going 1-to-1 with this guy and I need to be better at that guy, which yours, I think you're a little bit more graceful. I think you embrace the competition because you've got your own energy. But some people it's like, I need the money. Some people, I need the competition. Some people I have that fight. Some people it's just something that happened in their life that flicked a switch. That just, you know, for me, that was probably it. It was like all my kids went, all my cousins and my siblings all went to private school and I went to state school. Wow. So maybe, you know, by accident, that type of thing was make me think, well, I've just got to catch up with those guys. I think was one of the main things that got me going. And then it's either it's stopped or basically I've seen everything as like a new challenge.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see that in something that is an art, there's also competition. There's also the ugly side, which you have in anything, which is like,
yes, there is.
I need to be better than this guy.
Yeah. You need to push yourself, and it's like that hunger that you mentioned, Jeremy, is a really important factor. And it's not hunger as if you're being physically hungry. You may have the money, but it's still that hunger for that recognition. I was reading an article about you and the newsprint there. And that's recognition for something that you've been doing for a while. I think is worth much more than saying, okay, I got £1 million in the bank. It's just that for me, it's when even in Dubai, I've been stopped like 10 times already.
Yeah.
From people who
I can imagine.
They've said, oh my God, what are you doing here?
You've been here like 3 days or something
I've only been here and it's great. So it's that. And I'm still here. I'm still, I'm still trying to push a movie that I want to produce, hunger is still there, we'll never stop, and give me £10 million, I'll still be on.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot, and I respect that a lot because, it's very easy to just get the fame, get a bit of money in the bank, and then just say, you know what, nothing else to do. But then that's what everyone says. It's like that's when they'll come for you. That's when they'll come for you. That minute when you feel your belly is full.
No, it's never full.
There's Carlo Ancelotti, coach of Real Madrid. He said like Ronaldo's different to everybody else because he's never full. His stomach is never full. And that guy just doesn't need to work for the next 100,000 million years, right? But he's still putting in. He's still going. And I think that's what a lot of because of the nature of the business that I do. Is that I'm dealing with, and I'm in interviewing, and I'm speaking with, and I'm friends with a lot of these people that they just. They're just at the top of their game in their particular industry, and it can be a mental thing, and it is always a mental thing. I'm not talking about athletes, but it's just, whether they, but the same thing. You also hunger. You can't have hunger alone. You need to know your craft and be good at your craft.
Yeah.
You need both, I would say,
and to develop your craft, not to sit on your laurels and think, okay, I'm good now. I think I'm good. No, you've got to keep developing that craft. Adapt. Which other ways that, which is why I got out of the box. I write a little bit, and I make sure I play music. I keep my body shape good form. To be able to do anything really. And I think that's important. To keep developing. There's always, no matter where you are, like where you are right now, there's an idea that you haven't had yet.
What's your biggest regret?
Oh my God, I don't have that many.
Do you have any regrets?
No.
That's the best life.
Yeah. No, I can't really, nothing pops up in my head and is a regret.
That is a life fulfilled, isn't it?
Yeah.
No regrets at all?
No. Only one. Yeah, there's got to be just one major regret. And that is, at this point, I don't have kids. Yeah, I really want to have kids. I had lots of opportunities, across the world, but at this point in time,
Sure,
but I don't feel like it's a regret. I just feel like it's something I haven't done yet.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's not a regret.
You're Rolling Stone, right? So, But so it's like I've done all this in my life. Like there's not really a lot else to really do.
I've done. It's like,
a mini Wale.
So that's not a regret. That's just a need, a yearning.
Yeah. But what's your next big project then? Where are you going?
Well, I got we have a great release of a new Amazon film that we just did coming out. It's called The Breath of Life, which is released in November, and then I've just signed a deal with Amazon to produce what will be essentially Nigeria's first cowboy movie.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's fun, so that's what we're working on. And of course I'm here in Dubai to push one of my passion for racing.
Oh yeah.
is to do a racing film, and that's one of the moves that I'm also doing. And that's what's up out there.
So talking of this, one question I'll ask you.
Yeah.
Which famous actor did you meet was a total
oh, Jeremy, you want to put him in trouble?
No, we won't show the name, but
a total. Yeah, there was one guy. It was a real. Yeah, I was invited into a high-profile dinner in Hollywood, Directors Guild. Not a lot of people get invited to the Directors Guild, so I was invited for a high-profile dinner in there. It was a seat, you know. So they said, "Oh, Wale, you know, you're one of Nigeria's biggest stars, you know, and you got to sit on that table, you know." And so it was only about 7 or 8 people, and this guy, what was he doing here? I was like, "What? Yeah, what am I doing? I'm just as big as you." You know, and you know, and then when the guys, when people came over, I said, "No, this is Wale Ojo." Yeah, I know.
So he knew where you were,
Yeah,
and still said, "Why is he on my table?"
yeah, he knew. The guy was asking me, I said, "Why am I on his table?"
Really?
Yeah, and I'm like, "Dude,"
and he knew who you were.
No, he didn't know who I was. Oh. He didn't know. No. Of course he knew who I was.
He knew who you were.
He knew, but
if he didn't know who you were,
it's different.
I'd understand.
Yeah, and here's someone I've met more than twice.
No.
And I've met in Nigeria.
No.
Yes, Jeremy. And he's still looking at me like, "Oh, you should be over on the other tables, not on the high table." Mate,
what an arsehole. Yeah, what an arsehole.
What? I mean, I can't mention his name.
No, I mean,
but it was anyway. And the guys insisted and said, "I'm sorry, man, this is me. Why they sit here? I'm sorry."
Serious? Yeah. He knew where you were. He's met you before, and he said, "What is that going to do?"
What is wisdom on my table? I was like, "Hello?" I was like, "Sorry, man, I'm not going anywhere." So that's another thing as an actor, you've got to be overconfident. Because people will try and put you down, you know. And I, these days, I just walk into a room like I own the room, you know. Like, hey, I'm here to sign the deal, you know. And I remember another great actor who I'd never known before, fantastic actor. I love him to death. His name's Keith David. He just did Greenleaf with Oprah Winfrey, you know. And I met him at a party, and I never knew him before, you know. And I ignored his security, just went straight to him. I said, "I have an idea for you. I think you could be a brilliant Othello." Because I was wanted to play Iago, and I would be Iago. And he looked at me. "Really?" I went, "Yeah." I'll tell you why. And I whispered in his ear. I says, "Do you know what the secret of Othello is?" This was in the party. Everyone's going crazy, drinking champagne, whatever. And he goes, "What?" And I goes, "It's in the title, Othello. Oh, the hell. Oh." And he went, "Wow." And he goes, "Here's my number."
Yeah, that's true. You're a big Othello fan.
Yeah. You know, and we shot a movie together based on Othello.
Who's of all the big names of the guys act out? Who was on the other end of the scale? Who was like the most down to earth, like the nicest guy? Like,
been a few, you know. There's been some really good. There's been a few. I have to say, it's Brendan Gleeson.
Yeah.
Brendan Gleeson's a character, you know. We did a movie called The Guard together. Shot it with Don Cheadle, directed by Martin McDonagh's brother, and it was great. And then afterwards, you know, everyone goes their way, but you know, Brendan said, "Look, Wale, we're gonna shoot this film at Sundance Film Festival. Come along, man. Let's have fun." And I did. And not only that, when I got to LA, and Brendan just said to me, "Listen, Wale, I think you're great. I'm going to give you an introduction to my agent." Personally made, because he had a high profile agent. I was looking for a new agent at that time. He goes, "Listen, I'm going to make an introduction for you." So Brendan, I would say, is probably on the top 5.
He looks like the most down-to-earth guy, like, you know.
Really nice guy.
And I think generally, I would say this Irish type of thing, where it's just like,
there is that. Yeah, I think there is that, you know. And I would love to work with him again, you know. And, and Don Cheadle as well. Don Cheadle.
He seems to be intense.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Hey, listen, with Don, I was at Sundance, right? And Don's never met me before. And the director told me that, look, Wale actually flew out here on his own ticket. You know, we didn't pay for him, just to come and support the film. And Don Cheadle came out of the VIP screening, came straight to me and goes, "Wale, man, thank you for your support. Thank you for coming here to support the film." And that was great. A lot of stars wouldn't do that.
But he did pay for your flight ticket.
No, but I paid for my flight ticket. But you know, he was nice. Yeah. No, Cheadle's a great, nice. He's a really good guy. And of course, I met Lawrence Fishburne also.
He's intense. I heard he's intense.
He can be intense, but when you get to know him, he's cool.
Once he's tickling the ivories,
he thinks we've become really, you know, we've become friends, you know. And there've been quite a few people like that. Kevin Hart is a bit, I don't know, slightly, I thought, a bit arrogant.
Yeah, he's on my cup of tea. But listen, man, amazing stories. Amazing stories. I love stories. Basically, we call it banter.
Banter,
banter. Like, you know,
banter in a pub.
And the British, we're the best at the banter. Like, we've all got a story,
as we call it. And I've got to say though, you know, for all the hassles and everything, that there is no better place to be trained as an actor than the United Kingdom. You know, there is I've done every single major theatre in the UK, including the National Theatre, and there's just something about it, man. It just grounds you as an actor. That training is intense that you go through, you know. And I never went to drama school. I didn't go to RADA or anything like that. You know, I started training on the job, you know, but it was working with other actors and then telling them, I'm not whining, you gotta learn your verse, you gotta learn your, you know, you gotta learn your diction, you gotta do your physical work, you got British actors train hard, you know. And I think that's why if you find a lot of especially a lot of the black British actors went over to LA, just smashed it. David, Idris, Chiwetel, you know, just smashed it, you know. And it's that training, that theatre training, specifically in the UK, I think that helped a great deal. So I'll always be grateful to the UK for that. You know?
Nice. Yeah. All right, well, listen, what amazing stories. I'd love to see you again. We're going to go out and have a good time tonight. But yeah, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Cheers.